Welcome to Q-ZAR.
So now I went over some of that stuff. There's a couple other things I need to start going over. All right, now the power of a reflex. All right, you have to understand one thing and one thing only. I take a lot of reflexes at people. In fact, if you find a lot of times when you tag me, a lot of times I'm the one taking the reflex at you. The reason why is I like to outmaneuver the people I play. By outmaneuvering them a lot of times, I'm either taking the second shot or I'm reflexing them. Now, I'm not saying that I want you to get shot and then shoot people back. What I'm saying is when you are getting shot, you should be the one taking the reflex more often than not. If you aren't, that means maybe you might be a little bit too aggressive. Now, if people are taking a lot of understand, of course, you're going to be blocking a lot of reflexes. That's perfectly fine, especially when you're up. I mean, if you're up, of course you're going to be blocking a reflex. What I mean though is when both players are up, when you get tagged, I don't want you to be the one that is just getting tagged and oh, you have no reflex. You want to be that person who is taking a shot, blocking, and then getting a reflex even if you do get tagged. All right. So sometimes you have to understand you want to take shots at people from far away and block from far away. All right. One of the biggest things that people do and biggest mistakes they do is they shoot at people, miss, and then move toward the opponent. Why would you do this? Why would you do this? All that does is gives your opponent a closer target to shoot you. No, shoot. If you miss, always move back, because that way, if they shoot you back, you give yourself a little bit longer in order to get that reflex off at that person, and now they're blocking the reflex. All right. So, why is that important? Well, the most important thing about Q-ZAR is staying up. Okay, you don't want to be down. You want to be the one who's up. You don't want to trade. Why would you want to trade? Make it a little easier on yourself. Outmaneuver your player. Maneuver your player in order to get the most effective shot. All right. Make sure it's a shot that you can get back into your cover as quick as possible. Maneuver your opponent so he takes a shot, he has no chance of tagging you, and now you have a free shot at tagging him. All right. You don't want to be that person who's getting out-moved and now you're taking a reflex at somebody who's around behind a wall. No good. All right? When you're taking a reflex, you want to be taking a reflex somebody when you're within 3 feet most of the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot at somebody. I'm going to let them shoot at me from 5 feet away. All right? Then I'm going to move closer to them. I am not going to shoot, then move forward, try to block their shot, and then try to get a reflex. I shoot at them, stay where I'm at, they move back, block their shot, and then move forward at them after they shoot at me. Okay? For you aggressive players, stop doing this. Stop shooting and then trying to block something by moving forward. Alright? Now, I've gone over with you ones and twos a little bit. But you have to understand there's a lot of different mentalities of ones, twos, in Mckeen games. The most important thing about a ones game, I can tell you right now, is patience. Make sure you're patient, calm, collective. Outplay your opponent, right? Very, very important. With twos, it's all about your teammate, all right? Make sure you keep your teammate up. That is your number one priority. Same with when you're in a team game. Your number one priority, as you're a roamer, is to stay up the entire game. If you're a defender, it is to hold your position the entire game. If you're a support player, it is to support your team the entire game. All right? That is your mentality. All right? It's no longer, when you're in a twos and a team game, it's no longer about take your time, calm, collective. No, it's about getting the opponent down as quick as possible. All right? Using your teammates to get you out of bad positioning. Right? Bonging, canceling. This becomes more effective when you're in team games because you have to use them more because you're going after people where you have to go get them. You know? In ones, you don't have to get anybody. All right? Same thing if you're playing in a position where you're defending. You don't have to go get an aggressor. If the other team is attacking, you don't have to go get somebody. You're defending. Your job is to hold your position. All right? If you shoot somebody and they go back behind the wall, if your position is to hold something, then if you don't hold your spot, your teammates might get crushed. So, if somebody comes in, you shoot them, they miss you, they go back, They're trying to get you to come out of position. Don't leave your position. It's very, very important you understand that. Make sure you stay in your position. All right? It's very, very key. Now, when it comes to opponent manipulation, this is something that I know the best. All right? You have to understand that I outthink my opponents before I even get in the arena. When you're really strategizing for a team game, understand one thing. This is how you want to strategize. If I was their team captain, what would I do against the team I'm playing? Then make a strategy against that. All right? Don't make a strategy for what. Don't just think about your own team first. Think about what the opposing team is going to do and build a strategy that beats that strategy. Same thing when you're playing one-on-one and two-on-two. If you know that this person is good at close combat, don't play them one-on-one in close combat. Why would you do that? You're much more better at bouncing. Play them in a place in the arena where it's very bouncy. If you're better at long-distance combat, do as much as you can to distance yourself with your opponent. Always be thinking about what your opponent's tools are, what his strengths are, what his weaknesses are. Always be thinking about those things before the game. Stick to your strategy once you get in the game. If you know the person you're playing against, the best chance for you to beat them is by being in regular combat. Stick to regular combat. Don't let their aggressive nature, their defensive nature, change that. All right? You want to stick to your game. Just like if you're doing MMA, you don't want to wrestle somebody who's a wrestler. That's stupid. I'm not going to play somebody who's great in the open. That's stupid. You're playing their game. Play your game. Manipulate your opponent. If you know they're going to go to a certain spot, think about what spot is most advantageous for me to get to in order to beat that person in that spot. And don't go anywhere else besides that spot. Don't change up your strategy. Oh, you're getting your butt kicked. Don't change up your strategy. All right? Now, in the next couple of things I'm going to explain to you about, a little bit about cheap packs. This is a very important subject, but I really want you to understand one thing and one thing only. All right? How I beat people is up here. Right? Most people think that I'm not very smart. That's fine. In real life, book smart. I'm not smart. But one thing I do very well is I apply immediately what is going on and immediately make a reaction. That's something a lot of people can't do. A lot of people are really intelligent players, and I'll give them full out respect for that. Some of the strategies I've seen people come up with, I'm like, wow, that person's really smart. That doesn't mean they can apply the same things I can apply in the arena. All right? Learning to applying something is way more important than being intelligent and outthinking somebody. That's great, you outthink me, but I outdid you. All right? Understand that applying and thinking are different things.